Welcome, everybody. It is Valentine's Day, and Tony hates Valentine's Day, so I'm triple appreciative that he showed up tonight without the snark, hopefully. And we are very, very excited to have my husband here and Jen's husband to answer questions about what it's like to have this journey be part of your family and not just something your wife is doing, how what we're doing affects the whole family, even when we're just doing it for ourselves, and changes they've made because of processes that have happened and changed and tools that have come into our lives through Beachbody. So Yoni is going to be our MC tonight, and I'm going to actually hand it over to her, and I'm going to enjoy not being in charge.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the question, but you guys, I think between yourselves, will decide who's gonna field which question, or whoever's most comfortable with grabbing that one. But I will start this one with Lily, or rather with Chani. Does your wife give you a hard time when you don't eat healthfully?
Not directly.
Go for it. And what does that mean?
What that means is that you can get the guilt look and the guilt trip at times, but it's more the lifestyle in the house and what we're trying to lead the kids with. And since we do have a more or less shared, not completely, but more or less shared vision of where we want to take the house, if I'm going off the edge, then she'll indicate that to me. And request that I don't bring the ice cream back in the house.
That happened today. But do you have free reign to bring whatever you want to eat in that moment in the house?
Yeah. You'll remind me sometimes the fries are not a good idea.
What like night?
Yeah, but it's not as much, giving me a hard. You're not giving me a hard time. That's the thing. It's not giving me a hard time. It's we are heading in a similar direction health wise, and it's supportive. Sometimes in the moment it just feels annoying,
But like, let's say that if you want to have ice cream, do you ever get like a thing from me like, oh, don't bring that in the house, or it's leaving your stuff in the house that bothers you?
It's the leaving the stuff in the house, and honestly I don't want to share it, so I'd rather not bring it into the house.
You don't mean in the house, you mean leaving it in the house, because you eat all your food in the house. You don't like eat in the car.
Right, I don't eat in the car. I hate
He means
car.
you eat it like in the living room. You don't have to hide it.
Right, I don't have to hide anything, but I will not sit there in front of you.
Right, which I very, very much appreciate.
No problem, I don't want you taking some.
Right, Yoni, can you, because I was going to flip the question the other way, and Debbie just asked this. What happens if, you're going to ask you, Tani, in terms of the direction, what happens when your spouse is not on the same page as you health-wise? Now, if there have been times in this journey, I mean, Lily's been a health coach for a very long time, but you said we're aligned with what we want for our house, but that's not always the case either seasonally, or right now it seems like we've never been aligned right now. So how would you
vegetarian thing.
Oh, right, when I went vegan for a month.
That I was not happy about that. As much as I'm happy not to have to share meat, it was annoying because number one, the grocery budget went up because now we're cooking two different types of meals. Number two, I'm going to offend somebody here, and I'm going to offend Ayala. I'm kind of anti-vegan.
No.
So
what did he say?
He's anti-vegan.
That's okay. I don't get offended.
It's not a lifestyle choice I want in the house, or I want the kids to feel, because I feel it's unnaturally limiting and whatnot. So when you brought that in, that was uncomfortable because it wasn't a health thing like, oh, I want to have meat or ice cream, or you suddenly are having a bad day and there's a pizza around. But it was just a divergence of where we were going with it.
When we first got married, that thing, and like your tagline when we got married was, I eat meat and meat eats vegetables, so I eat vegetables.
Yes.
Literally, you could have put that on a t-shirt when we got married. How did you then handle me from when we were first together being on a health directed trajectory?
I thought it was cute, and you look cute, so it worked. It's the lead and wasn't a pressure lead of you have to do this to be better. It was this, sorry, okay, I'm talking to you.
Okay.
Did the same thing at our wedding.
Okay, I'm gonna grab it from you guys for 1 second.
Go ahead.
I yell it. I want to talk also about your house that has the diametric opposite. I don't know where someone is on your
Well,
screen.
yeah, and then I want to, and then we'll hear from Josh because I'm interested to.
Right.
So maybe I yell it, you could talk about
Gonna
your
come to
household,
you.
that there's a completely different
Right.
dynamic.
Okay, so as opposed to somebody being on board or not being on board. I've been vegan since June. I started as an experiment. I was also very much, never thought I would be, but that's just in terms of now being very different and eating differently than people in my house. So I think that can go with what Debbie said. Let's say other people are not on board with your healthy lifestyle. It could be just anything else. It doesn't have to be vegan. I still cook meat. I don't have an issue with meat. For me, it very much was a health thing on a cellular level, and then how I started feeling with it. But I have me who is vegan, a husband and 15-year-old son who consume mass quantities of meat.
We could still be friends.
Only 2 other people in my house who like fish. A 10-year-old who is a picky eater. You know, so we're 6 people, I think, who eat very differently. I have people in my house who, when they want to lose weight, still say, I need to cut out carbs in order to lose weight. And I'm like, health coach, here, hi, right here, 50 pounds down, never cut out carbs. Okay. But again, everybody has to be able to be making their own decisions. I think the bigger question is, if somebody's not on board, is what's my outlook? What's my perspective? You can get very much stuck in, well, there should be one dinner for all of us, and that's that. And for me, it's not. It calms me down actually relinquishing that. I have been able to give over, if you want to eat certain things that I'm not eating, then that is for you to then be aware of. Take meat out of the freezer if you want barbecue night every Wednesday, or Shabbos cooking gets split. I'll make sure there are enough vegetables. You don't have to eat everything I'm eating. I'd like you to be aware that this stuff is good for you. For my younger children, even my older children, I try to teach, not only by example, but try to teach what these things do, just so as they get older, it's not foreign to them. But when I relinquished trying to change other people and not have them necessarily do what I do, I was happier and they were.
I think that's great. I think the point of the call though for people is also to hear like unfiltered, like not my story of what I think things are like, but like the little bit like from the other side. So what's something like, I want to hear also from Jen and Josh, like on this question, like tell us from you guys, like, are you guys on the same page? What's the original question? Yoni, like reword it, reframe it for them.
Well, Josh, do you have something in mind that you wanted to answer?
Yeah, repeat the question.
Okay. The question originally was, does your wife give you a hard time when you don't eat? I kind of switched it to where is your mindset as opposed to the whole house?
No, so since we started Tubi, she has in the past, but since we started Tubi, she has not. And
Oh, wait. I started Tubi way before you.
yeah, I mean, yeah, she started way before. I've only been on Tubi for like about 6 months. And since I've started, has not been giving me a hard time on things. You know, I do have, piece of cake here and there or whatever. I'm pretty good overall. And like Tani was saying, like you kind of have to set up the house for success. And I feel that, we don't have those, snacks that maybe I would be tempted to. And we shop, we buy a lot of food. So there's always options to what to eat. And there's definitely nights when there's no time for us to make a fancy dinner for ourselves and I'm just grabbing, but it's a lot easier to grab, like the frozen vegetables are already prepared. You just throw them in the pot or in the microwave, so it doesn't take so long to make that dinner. So there's a lot of,
Those are the nights that I don't make dinner.
no, she makes sometimes.
No, I'm not saying it no, I'm saying it the opposite way. I don't make dinner every single night all the time. Tuesday nights are always a weird night in this house. And it's like kind of do your own thing. So he's talking about the nights that he makes his own dinner. He is able to just throw things together.
I do stuff. I know how to cook. So, and, but I think that's what I like about that, this diet so far. I haven't because you really could eat any very, there's a lot of things you can eat.
Don't call it a diet.
Sorry, not diet.
Okay.
I was waiting for her to say that.
Also
Yeah.
good.
They like to say lifestyle. I was wondering which one was gonna call you on it.
I don't feel,
Let his wife call him on it, thank you.
I don't feel deprived or, like I'm getting guilted or, I feel fine. Like, I think one of the questions we may talk about is the challenge. Like, I don't even feel that like it's so super challenging and that, because it's an unsolicited thing. I'm definitely happy to talk to any husband here.
Josh, can I ask you how it felt? You said you've been on 2B for 6 weeks. So, but Jen's been doing 2B for 6 months,
Yeah.
longer. So what was that leading up to before you decided to start following 2B?
Because thank God we were willing to try different things in the kitchen and spices and different flavors. That there was always tasty food in the house. It was always like, even when she made her 2B meals, I was fine with that because the food was good. So we never had challenging. We tried, and you made a lot of different dishes, and it was fine.
I think what your answer really should be in that, sorry, being very wifey, is I think what you're saying, when I started 2B and you weren't, if I had my dinner and I had my protein and my vegetables, you still had your starch.
Yeah, if I needed, so she would make me rice if I needed. But now we make, cauliflower rice or whatever, and it's totally fine.
But you wouldn't have eaten the cauliflower rice.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, and now I have, and I tried, and I'm like, you know what, this is basically just as good as regular rice, and this.
Connie's having a heart attack.
I'm calling Kenny on you.
Connie, we still have the meat and the chicken and
Tony eats a lot of vegetables. He'll eat anything as long as I don't call it something else. He loves cauliflower. As long as I don't call it cauliflower rice. He loves
the word
turnips in the air fryer. But God forbid, Debbie, you call it turnip fries, he's out of here.
But
the word I have to say in my house, I'm not allowed to say cabbage steak.
yes,
Because there's
Yes.
nothing steak about cabbage.
yes.
Roasted cabbage,
But
cabbage rounds, do not call them
But
cabbage.
Debbie,
Mhm.
but here's the thing, we turn that into an inside joke in the house. And I think you have to be okay. You have to be a little lighthearted that you're going to be the butt of the joke sometimes.
Mhm.
Like in our house, I'm the butt of the joke all the time because I'm the worst joke teller.
Even with the kids, they're like, Ema's not cheating, she's treating.
Right.
There you go.
I know. So
I know.
I think the family dynamic since Jen started has been fine. We really haven't had issues where we're like, and Jen, we'll make the cake for the kids, or we'll buy the frozen schnitzel for the kids if we need, because that's fine. And like, there's I don't feel like I've seen Jen do other diets before, and there was a lot of like, you can't have this, you can't have that. It's a lot of negative, and I think that
You've
with
done
this diet,
Whole30 with me
I've
before.
even tried with Whole30 once. And that's nice for 30 days, but you can't last much longer than that because you miss X, Y, and Z. But with this, you basically have everything. I will say it today. It was a Sunday and a little lighter at work. I barbecued hot dogs for lunch, and I had hot dogs because it was lunch and it was protein, and I had the everything, and it was fine. And it was a 2B. It was fine. It was fine. And it was first time in a while.
He does the man version.
Yeah,
of
I do
2B.
like Tanya. I do the man version. I have.
It's protein-ish.
But he's watched the videos, Tony. Tony has
I
never
don't
watched
do
the
that.
videos.
I watch
Tony takes pictures of his food and sends it to me from one side of the house to the other when he plates it.
I eat cucumbers just to be able to say vegetables.
I will admit that certainly for men, it's certainly easier to get away with having a hot dog here and there, a little bit here and there, not have, I definitely get there's certain challenges that I have.
FFC's at night.
Yes, no, I don't really have so much of that, but there's certain challenges. It's a little easier for as a man sometimes to shed those pounds as a woman. I just know sometimes that's the reality. So maybe
Very sensitive of you, Josh, to point that out, by the way.
So I understand it, but my point is also like, if anybody here wants maybe to get their husbands on board, if that's where come in with that mentality, I'm definitely happy to talk to them because
I did not make you do this.
No, she didn't. No, I was on my own.
It feels good. I think the key thing here is if you really get a positive relationship with food and you really don't treat it like a diet, like, and you really are not being super controlling. Like, again, we were talking beforehand about like I ate ice cream today because I was in a bad place and was in the house. And we don't really keep that ice cream specific brand in the house. Can we really not do it? And I think if we would have had that conversation a year or two ago, you would have been, I think, more defensive.
Could have used my ice cream lot.
Should have used your ice. Someone bought him an ice cream lot. But the point being that what you said, the nicest thing, I'm just gonna fry him for a second. He's like, you're absolutely right. I don't usually leave it in the house. Whenever I want it, I get it. It's no problem. And I left in the house because I was so proud of myself that he 2B'd it and didn't eat all the ice cream just because there was ice cream. And he's like, next time, the truth is, I can just toss it. And the next time I want ice cream or give it to a neighbor, the next time I want ice cream, I'll just go get more ice cream. It doesn't have to sit there waiting for anybody. And I think that's the key with 2B. I think that Tani has gotten on board on is emotionally eating anything isn't good for anybody. It's not about weight loss. And he doesn't want to be emotionally eating Ben & Jerry's either.
I don't want to be emotionally doing it.
So Jude wrote something in the chat. And what does it mean to have your partner on board? They are being supportive or they are changing how they eat well? I'm actually going to feel part of this myself. My husband is not on the call, but that's also because I'm in a different location than the rest of my family at the moment. He started recently, and my daughters tease him a little bit that he's kind of 2B-ish. He's doing 2B-ish. It is working. He does get frustrated when it doesn't work, and their answer was, well, how much water did you have today? And did you write it down? And we saw you eating that, and it's not in your tracker, Abba. So they'll give him a hard time. But I will tell you that I've been on 2B a very long, I mean, maybe not as long as some of the others, but over almost a year and a half. The pushback I got at the beginning was very frustrating. He was not interested in my new way of life, as it was called at the time. And I couldn't let that get in my way. Meaning I know a lot of people get stuck in this place of, I don't have the support of, and it is difficult. But I think part of when I decided that I needed to do 2B for me was the point that I needed to get over. If it means I make 2 dinners, it means I make 2 dinners. There are people who are not willing to. You're not willing to. But if I wasn't going to have success without that, then come hell or high water, I'm going to make myself a different dinner. Yes, over time, my family has watched me eat, and certain foods no longer even come in the house at all. On the other side of the coin, there's, if anyone's seen this viral recipe of cherry tomatoes and feta cheese, and that's been going around everywhere. So the parental version this week was with spaghetti squash. And I will say, because there's not been pasta in my house for so long, because that's my like go off the rails food. I bought whole wheat pasta for my daughters, who were looking at me like, why did you bring this foreign object into our house? Boiled it up. They were like, oh, it tastes fine. I'm like, thank you. I've been trying to tell you that for ages. But for some reason, since I've never eaten whole wheat pasta, I don't feel like I have to start eating whole wheat pasta. They had their version, we had our version, but what I did with it was the same. It's no different if I'm gonna make a meat bolognese and I'll throw it over cauliflower, whatever you would like to call that stuff. Or if they're gonna have it over their brown rice or pasta or whatever it might be. There's a point where, yes, you do see your family starting to eat differently because you are regularly putting out cut up vegetables in front of everyone. You are regularly having certain
Can you go on
behaviors.
mute, please?
You are regularly having certain behaviors. Those things start seeping into their vernacular. I mean, my kids repeat things and make fun, but we had a pre-call, my alarm goes off. My alarm goes off every hour or two to remind people of water. My son now grabs my phone and he wants to do my water reminders because he gets excited. So there is sometimes a transition. I'm not going to promise everyone it happens, but I will tell you that I have a daughter who was very food conscious, and now without thinking, and I know Jen, you have this as well, who knows what plate it means, and there's not a pressure around it. It's just that's what a healthy plate looks like. And so, yes, it's great when people are on board. On the same note, my husband can have a night where he's like, well, all of this stuff, and I'm just going to eat what I want to eat. And I'm going to, my bigger thing is don't skip a meal. And he's like, well, I'm not hungry, so I'm not having dinner. Okay, that's not to be. And that's my answer every time. That's not to be, but you're going to do your thing. So I don't know if that goes with the, do you give your husband a hard time if he doesn't eat well? Yes, I have my one sentence, because my bigger thing is not about overeating. In our house, emotional eating means I just won't eat anything. Like I go in the other direction, he'll go in the same other direction of just not eating. So for me, that's not an acceptable thing, because that really is not healthy to not put food in.
But Yoni, can I say something? I think also
I want to
a
make
big
sure we
thing.
get to also all the questions for the.
Okay, I think a big thing also is when you are making a change, again, the on board, not on board, does not necessarily, are they also doing to be or not? And we don't always have control. And there's a whole month topic in the Mindset membership where Alana and Noah speak. They had very different households growing up and what that meant being on board in the beginning. With, Noah didn't understand, well, why can't you just not eat this? So I think there's conversations that opens up opportunity for conversations also. There's also the aspect of consistency. I think because, at least for me, so many times in my life, I've done so many different kinds of things and then not necessarily stuck with it. It became more acceptable and received the support that I was looking for when I believed in it for myself. Like when Yoni said, I was doing it for me at that point, and then I stayed with it. Even if it meant a slip up or this, then it's what I came back to. It's what I kept on wanting to do. Is I expressed that this was really important for me. And I think that then has its own effect in terms of on board or support, even if they're not doing what you're doing.
I think that's great. And I think Tani had a great answer for somebody who added the anonymous comment about like, would I ever correct Tani if he thinks he's doing something healthy and it wasn't healthy? Only if we'd had a conversation. I'm not his weight loss coach, so if he had a conversation and he was trying to lose weight, like, can I say like about the cholesterol?
The correct thing is, I think, the wrong word. You're not correcting either. I'm not asking, and then you're not going to volunteer it if I'm not looking for the information, because trying to correct them, then you're being micromanaging.
Yeah.
And that's not a good way to handle it.
I think that at least for us, like Tanya once got a diagnosis of high cholesterol from his doctor, and his doctor's like, look, I can put you in a conversation with a dietitian, or you can go talk to your wife. Mm-hmm. And you said to me, like, I'm not ready to be helped. So like, I'm letting you know, because I told the doctor I'd let you know, but I'm not ready to be helped with this yet.
Yeah.
And, so like, if we were having red meat too much in the house, so I maybe made swaps in what I was buying, but I didn't directly get in his face about it. And that's 2B mindset, guys. That is 2B mindset. Like, there's no perfect plate. So if he's having nuts and dried fruit throughout the day, if he's saying he wants to lose weight and he's saying he wants your help, then you could say, you know what, I find fresh fruit. You can have 2 cups of fresh fruit for 2 tablespoons of dried fruit. That might fill you up more. That's a better way to go about it than correcting anybody, because even correcting yourself, you're going to get resistance to, right? None of us like to even correct ourselves. I really shouldn't be eating that.
I think it depends what that agreement is, meaning I'm coaching my mother and my husband who asked me to do that, which why I agreed to it.
Exactly.
Shows I'm not fully sane. But how do I correct it? Not on the moment.
Right.
When I review a tracker, it's a safer place to say, okay, so this wasn't the best choice of a fruit. Exactly. Versus you could have taken an apple, or it's a different way of, when you use the word, so whoever used the word correct, I would be guiding them in a better choice for that moment. But I won't do it on the moment when someone's shoveling something in their face, because they might be also dealing with something, and I'm not getting between someone and their food. But it means dealing with it in a different way if you've been asked, or if there is that commitment and agreement.
Did
That's
Josh
a very
raise your
different
hand?
place
Did
than
you have
just
an
giving
answer to this,
unsolicited
Josh?
advice.
Josh, were you raising your hand or just mess around? Okay,
Okay. Hold on a second. So I'm taking these a little bit out of order because some of them were really answered within other ones. You two men. So how is it, the wording was, how is it as a guy watching Alana's videos, and what were your biggest takeaways or any surprises that you learned while you were watching some of the videos?
Well, I don't think Tanya watched, so I'll answer. I watched them a while ago, so I don't really remember them so well. I definitely took notes with all my questions for Jen. We never got around to discussing any of them, and I figured it out on my own, basically. So it was fine. I thought they were very educational. Jen had printed out all the FFCs and all that stuff, so I was referencing those at the beginning. So I felt like it was a pretty clear what I need to do, and you know, how to plate my meals. I honestly don't. I was trying to track and all that stuff at the beginning. It just wasn't working for me with the tracker.
Wait. He also doesn't track his weight. What's the
No, I
conversation?
take weight.
No. What's the conversation we have every single
No,
morning?
what was I yesterday? I forgot.
Jen, what was I yesterday? I'm like, write it down.
No.
How do you want me to remember that?
I remember. I remember. Whatever. It's fine. So yeah, I do. But I do weigh in every morning. But again, like I said, I don't
You weigh anymore every morning, but you don't write it down.
Yes.
in my head.
Tommy does the same thing. He weighs in every day, but he doesn't write it down.
Almost every day.
And I
Is
don't
it,
wanna-
wait, can I ask you both, you men, something? Is it the tracker that doesn't work for you?
No, I
The
just-
reason I'm asking is,
like
and
writing-
Ayala and I have found this, all the men that we've worked with use a spreadsheet, use Excel, and somehow that just works with their,
Just, you know, they have to be remembered on the computer and put it in everything. I don't know. It just doesn't.
He doesn't
Okay.
want. That's the
Yeah,
bottom line.
Yeah,
I don't want a record.
doesn't
I'll
work.
remember it, but I don't want a written record. I learned my lesson a long time ago. Don't write things down.
I would add again. I want to repeat this, and I said this before. I don't want to diminish the value of tracking and of certain things. For me, it's just not working out for me. And like I said, well, I have an occasional that hot dog I had today, which again I don't do so often, or you know, for me that works and that's helped me lose weight. I don't diminish that. I know for some people that doesn't work and they have to be super strict. For me, I'm like
You're 1B.
95%.
No, you're
Sorry.
1B. You're just
1B.
1B. He's 1B.
What's 1B?
You're doing
Not to be.
water first,
I do a lot of
veggies
water.
most. You
I
don't.
do water.
Okay.
1.5. He's got 1.5.
1.5.
I
One
do
and a
drink
half.
the water. I have a lot of vegetables. I don't eat
you're a
carbs.
lame bunny.
So Tommy's also
Yeah.
1.5. He doesn't track, but he totally is a lot. He's
I'm
veggie
aware.
some. He's 2. He's veggie some, not veggies most.
Veggies first.
He's veggies first. That's Tawny. That was your biggest takeaway, and the water, right? Was veggies first. You could tell
Yeah.
your water started at
Which-
work. We went to work.
No, I will not. Oh, I got more exercise when I started drinking more water, but I went to the doctor because I was concerned.
He wouldn't listen to me that it was normal to go to the bathroom so much when he started drinking so much water. He insisted on going to the doctor. But I was gonna say about your veggies first. That's your thing.
Yeah, I will not go grabbing everything else. I'll eat the vegetable first because A, I want to get it out of the way as quickly as possible. And B is, you know, if I don't and then I fill up on something else, then I'm not going to get the vegetable. So since I'm not conscious, I don't want to eat the vegetable. I want to eat the hamburger, but I'll eat the vegetable. I also don't want to be 300 pounds and need elastic pants. So, you know, vegetables, great.
But also I think they want to talk a little bit more about the workouts and how much they've enjoyed those. So let's also
A
make
lot of
time
workout.
So that was my next question, was BOD.
Yes, all the time.
all the time. But that was not how when you first started. When I first started on the workouts,
Right.
Tawny was so skeptical.
Because I'd never followed these video things to work out. It was go to a gym and work out or whatever it is. And, you know, it took some time and finding the right program and actually, and work, working out with you.
At the
helped-
beginning.
At the beginning, helped me get started because I'm super competitive and I can't let you do better than me on anything with that stuff.
True
So
story.
so I had to, you work out, okay, I can lift those weights. Oh, now I gotta lift heavier. Oh, you're lifting heavier, now I gotta lift it. So it was good, and it was a good date thing for us. And then it's also about finding the right program.
Which was lift 4 for Tani. Once he
Well,
did lift
The
4,
other one too,
shift shop.
Yeah.
What-
Josh, what was your experience with BOD?
I've been working out regularly for the last 10 years or so, a mix between home videos and running. And I've done a lot of home workout videos, Fitness Blender and what do we call it, Biggest Loser. I've done a lot of them, so I've seen them, and I really enjoy these. Right now, I'm doing about 2 or 3 a week, and then I try to go running once a week. And
Could you call out your mother-in-law for a second?
Yeah,
Ma, you
Ma,
are
mute.
muted.
So, I don't follow. What I do is I'll choose like Lift 4, or I'll choose a different program, and I'll do 2 of the workouts. Like I'll do the upper body and then one other one a different day that week. So I don't like follow every single day. I choose 2 a week from the series, and I'll do that for like 4 weeks, and then I feel like I need to change, and I'll switch to.
So Tani
Yeah.
started like that too, Josh. Tani started like that too. And I would say your first 2
This-
years.
But this is the thing with the only thing that I track is with the workouts themselves. Because I want to see, like, it's nice to look in the mirror and see that there's a difference, but it's more of an ego boost to actually see, oh, I was lifting 30 and now I'm lifting 40 or whatever.
Whatever weights we have in the house.
Can I,
Smart.
can
But
I now
Tani
give,
now has done a lot, like for 2 years straight, Beachbody programs, full
Full on.
program on calendar, and
Mhm.
currently is doing 2 with
A
2 a day with 2 of our kids. He's doing lift 4 with Sima, and then shift shop with Becca at night, because now he's become the personal trainer in the house.
can
Okay,
I
I'm gonna
just
go
give
to
a flip
Ayala.
side? Can I just give a flip side perspective again, guys? I think it's really important because there's so many of us here and so many people who may not have what we call a spouse on board or not doing. Again, I think that also the flip side of the importance of wondering about your success. If everyone in your house is doing what you're doing, I can promise you myself, it's been 4.5 years and my husband has never pressed play on a BOD workout. I've offered, I've asked, I've stopped asking, I've asked if he wants to ask. He's talked about, oh my God, my body's killing me. I'm getting older. I'm turning 45. I really need to do yoga. I've said, it's here if you want me to show you yoga for runners because you run. He's heard me say he's seen me be injured and get better by lifting. He's heard my physical therapist say things about how important lifting is and not just running. All these things. Guys, the idea that I want to really bring home is that you can still be successful with your food and your workouts and be consistent and have it work for you, even if what maybe you would consider is your household not being on board in terms of not necessarily participating. I do believe, again, always an open conversation and nice conversation and being expressive with each other about your needs and your wants. But it is wonderful to have a spouse who also uses it. Some of my kids use BOD sometimes, but I will tell you personally, my husband has never.
Mine
So-
also.
Just to say the flip side of that, and I know a lot of you guys, and I remember, not to pick on you, Daria, but I remember we were talking about this when your husband first started doing a program with you. There's also the flip side, and that it can be super annoying. Like when we're like, no joke, when we're working out together, like if he didn't want to, like, I'd get out of bed 5:30 ready to go, and I'm like, okay, I'm pressing play whether you're there or not. And like sometimes we fight over who's gonna get to use it at 6 a.m. Okay, like like who's getting to use the living room then? Like the key takeaway from this is no different than anything else in your marriage. It's going to come down to communication. And none of us have perfect marriages, but what we've done is use the to be becoming self-aware and the to be language of being good to ourselves and open and taking personal responsibility and honesty, and applied that to all of our conversations around food, nutrition, and fitness in our homes. And that should really be your takeaway. There's there's 4 bunnies. Water is about like taking control of your environment, you know, getting on the scale is like 100% honesty about the facts of the situation and not the story. Tracking is checking in with your story. And what's the last one? Oh, veggies most is that in the end, you have to be giving a lot more compliments than criticism. Okay. So like you have the to be mindset, the way you think about your relationship. And thank you so much to Josh and to Tani and to Yoni and to all of you guys. So many of you showed up, and we're happy to continue this conversation in the thread in the group. Any last goodbyes, Yoni, in our last minute?
No, just wanted to thank everybody for their time. And guys, it's just one quick thing. It's probably going to cut off in the middle. It's not just about your spouses. If your family is in with it, great. And if your family's not, you still have a family here to support you on your journey. That's the bottom line. It doesn't have to be your blood relatives. We're here to be your family and to support you through this process. I think that's the bottom line of everything. It could be support from within and support from without.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a good night.
Have a great week, everybody.